There's a photograph in my drawer, faded and creased, showing 4 of us on the steps of a brownstone, arms around each other, grinning like we owned the world. I don't remember the exact date, but I know the city smelled like rain and possibility. That was the year everything felt endless, when we believed that no matter how far we wandered, those friendships would always be waiting, just like the old streetlights flickering to life as dusk settled over Manhattan. But life, like the seasons, has a way of changing everything, even the things we thought would never fade. If you're watching this, chances are you've felt it, too, the pull of old friendships, the warmth of memories that never really leave. I'm Samuel, and this is my story about the years the city walked beside me, back when New York was more than just a place. It was a feeling, a rhythm, a promise. Those afternoons on the steps, the laughter that echoed through the streets, the dreams we whispered into the night, they shaped who I am. If this resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell me your age and the city where you're listening. Let's keep these memories alive, one story at a time. My name is Samuel, and I grew up in a small apartment above a bakery on the Lower East Side. Every morning, the smell of fresh bread would drift up the stairs, mixing with the sounds of the city waking up, horns honking, newspapers hitting stoops, and the occasional shout from a vendor, but nothing compared to the sound of my friends' voices as they gathered outside my building, waiting for me to join them. There were 4 of us, me, Danny with his wild hair and endless jokes, Marcus, the quiet thinker who always had a book in his pocket, and Lily, whose laugh could light up even the gloomiest New York day. We were inseparable, like 4 corners of the same block, each one holding the others up. We spent our afternoons exploring every inch of our neighborhood, the parks where we played stickball, the record stores where we discovered new music, the old movie theater that always smelled like popcorn and adventure. I remember one summer when we found a forgotten alley with a broken payphone, and we took turns pretending to be detectives, solving mysteries that only we could see. But what I remember most is the feeling of belonging. No matter how chaotic the city could be, with its noise and rush, when I was with them, everything felt simple. We'd sit on the steps of the brownstone, sharing stories, making plans, and sometimes just sitting in silence, watching the world pass by. Looking back, I realized that those friendships weren't just a part of my childhood. They were the foundation of who I became. The city changed, people moved away, but the memories of those days are still with me, like an old photograph that never fades. But as the years passed, the city grew louder, but our friendship remained a quiet constant. We started high school at the same time, walking together every morning, our backpacks heavy with books and dreams. The city seemed bigger now, with new buildings rising and old ones fading. But we still found our corners, the diner where we shared milkshakes, the library where Marcus would lose himself in novels, and the rooftop where Danny and I would sit, watching the sunset paint the skyline in gold and pink. Lily was the glue that held us together. She had a way of making everyone feel seen, whether it was with a simple smile or a clever joke that could turn a bad day around. I remember one afternoon when I was feeling lost, unsure of who I wanted to be. We were sitting on the steps of the brownstone, and she said, "Sam, the city might change, but you don't have to. Just keep walking, and the right path will find you." Her words stayed with me like a compass in the chaos. There were moments when life pulled us in different directions. Danny's family moved to Brooklyn, and for a while it felt like the group was breaking apart. But every Sunday, without fail, we'd meet at the park near the old bridge, sharing stories and laughter as if no time had passed. Those reunions became sacred, a reminder that some bonds can't be broken by distance or time. I still remember the day we found out Marcus had won a scholarship to a university far away. We celebrated at the diner, eating our usual plates of fries and burgers, but there was a quiet sadness beneath the joy. We knew things would never be the same, but we also knew that no matter where life took us, we'd always have those afternoons, those memories, those friendships that shaped us. Life after high school scattered us like leaves in the wind. Danny stayed in Brooklyn, working at his father's garage, his laughter still echoing through the city's streets. Marcus moved to Chicago for college, sending us postcards filled with sketches of unfamiliar skylines and stories of new adventures. Lily went to Boston, where she found her voice as a writer, filling her letters with poems and memories of our old haunts and me. I stayed in New York, chasing a dream of becoming a photographer, capturing the city's soul, one frame at a time. But no matter how far apart we were, we always found our way back to each other. Every summer we'd gather in the city, meeting at the diner, walking the old streets, and reliving our childhood adventures. The city had changed, new faces, new buildings, new rhythms, but the bond between us remained, like an invisible thread connecting our hearts. One summer, we decided to revisit the alley with the broken payphone, the place where we'd once played detectives. The alley was different now, filled with art and murals, but the payphone was still there, weathered and silent. We took turns pretending to call each other, just like we did as kids, and for a moment, it felt like time had stopped. Those reunions became my anchor. In a world that was always moving, always changing, I knew that no matter what happened, I'd always have those friends, those memories, that feeling of belonging. The city had taught me that friendships aren't just about being together, they're about carrying each other in your heart. Even when you're miles apart. Years turned into decades, and the city kept changing, but some things never did. I still live in New York, in a small apartment near the park where we used to play stickball. Every morning, I walk the same streets, passing the bakery where the smell of fresh bread still drifts through the air. Sometimes, I catch a glimpse of kids laughing on the steps of the brownstone, and for a moment, I'm transported back to those afternoons with Danny, Marcus, and Lily. We don't gather as often as we used to. Life has pulled us in different directions, families, responsibilities, but we still talk, sharing stories over the phone, or in the occasional letter. Last winter, Danny called me from Brooklyn, his voice warm and familiar. telling me about his son's first baseball game. Marcus sent me a postcard from Chicago, this time with a sketch of the city's skyline and a note about his latest book. Lily wrote me a poem capturing the feeling of those old days, and I pinned it to my wall right beside the faded photograph of us on the steps. One evening, as I walked through the park, I passed a group of friends sitting on a bench, their laughter echoing through the trees. It reminded me of the promise Lily once made, that as long as we keep walking, the right path will find us. And I realized that the city, with all its noise and chaos, had always been there, walking beside me, just like my friends. Those friendships taught me that no matter how far we wander, some things never really leave us. The laughter, the memories, the feeling of belonging there, always with me, like the city's heartbeat, steady and true. The years passed, and the city's rhythm slowed a little for me. I started spending more time in the park, watching the seasons change, remembering the days when my friends and I would run through the leaves, our laughter filling the air. The bench where we used to sit is still there, worn and weathered, but it feels like a piece of home. Sometimes I bring a thermos of tea and sit there, letting the memories wash over me like the waves of the Hudson. One autumn afternoon, I received a letter from Lily. She wrote about her life in Boston, her new book, and how much she missed those afternoons on the steps. She said, "Sam, I still dream of those days, of the city's heartbeat, of our laughter echoing through the streets." Her words reminded me that even though we're scattered across the country, our bond remains unbroken. A few weeks later, I got a call from Danny. He told me about his son's graduation and how proud he was to see him walk across the stage. He said, "Sam, I wish you could have been there." It felt like one of those old days, when we thought anything was possible. Marcus sent me a sketch of the bench with a note. Some things never change, even when everything else does. Those moments, those words, filled my heart with gratitude. I realized that the city, with all its noise and chaos, had given me more than just a place to live it, had given me friends, memories, and a sense of belonging that would always be with me. As I sat on the bench that evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in gold and pink, I felt a deep peace. The city had walked beside me all these years, and so had my friends, and I knew that no matter where life took me, I would always carry those memories, that feeling of belonging in my heart. As I sit here now, looking at the city that shaped me, I'm reminded that life is a collection of moments, some loud, some quiet, but all precious. The friendships I made, the memories I hold, the city that walked beside me, they're all threads in the tapestry of my life. And though time moves on, those threads never fade. If this story touched your heart, if it brought back memories of your own friendships, your own city, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, sharing your age and the city where you're listening. Let's keep these memories alive, one story at a time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join Old Guard Memories for more tales of nostalgia, friendship, and the timeless rhythm of the city. There's so much more to tell. and I hope you'll be here to listen. Thank you for walking beside me through these memories. Until next time, take care, and may your own city always walk beside you.